It's Friday, August 24th, 2012, and let's talk about what happened this week over at XDADevelopers.com. First off, a couple of quick updates. Earlier this week, a couple of devices received unofficial ports of CyanogenMod 10. Those devices were the CDMA and the GSM versions of the HTC One V. And those two were done by, of course, teams of developers, but primarily by XDA-recognized contributors JMZ Taylor and Leloir, whatever. Now, in the past, we have pointed out that most Jelly Bean ports, most CM10 specifically ports, are extremely unstable, very early, buggy, things like that. However, these are not considered to be terribly buggy. They say that they are surprisingly stable, and really the CDMA port is the one that has a couple of minor things, like the backlight screen doesn't ever really completely turn off, and the camcorder doesn't work. Not anything to keep you from using it as a daily driver, although they are little things that I could see being a little perturbed by. One way or another, probably something that will be fixed relatively quickly, hopefully. Now, potentially one of the coolest stories to me that I've seen in a while. We've talked previously before about Google adding a multi-user feature to Android, and really making it apparent starting with Jelly Bean. Well, in the past we talked about how it was potentially possible to access it using some command line tools, but that's not really good for the end user. That's not really good for grandma using her phone and sharing it with her grandson. Because, you know, her grandson, he's probably looking at porn. Grandma doesn't want to see that. Well, XDA forum member Raghav Sood, a 15-year-old developer, has gone ahead and created a graphical app to take care of that for us. The app is simply named User Management, and it is still a little early. It's still got some bugs, I'm sure, and it is just kind of limited on features. You can create users, you can delete users. You cannot delete the primary user, which is actually a good thing if you think about it. Does not auto-run when you start it up, so you have to actually come in as the primary user and then switch to whoever. But I'm sure, again, that will probably just be a matter of time before switching automatically at the beginning will be supported. There are some comments in the thread that talk about how it would be nice to be able to integrate with a lock screen. I don't know if that's going to be something that he'll work on or if somebody else will, who knows. One way or another, it is definitely a good proof of concept, a good first start, and it looks like it's got several thousand downloads, so if you are interested in trying out the multi-user features, this may be a good place to start. Now, this next story is one that I have been secretly hoping would happen for a very long time. The story is titled simply, "The Sleeping Giant May Have Awoken." Now, over the last few months, we've been talking a lot about how Apple is essentially suing everybody in the known universe in the technology world. And yes, there are tons and tons of other lawsuits going on, but nobody really has quite the plethora of lawsuits out there that Apple does. Well, now Apple has received one in return, and I know they do have several other ones going on at this moment, but they received a big one. Why is it a big one? It's from Google. Kind of. As you may or may not know, Google acquired Motorola Mobility a few months back, and with that they acquired a buttload of patents. And in this lawsuit, they're claiming that Apple is violating about 7 of Motorola Mobility's patents. All of them related to wireless and spreading across the entire spectrum of Apple devices, which means if this goes through, if they do end up getting what they're asking for, which is essentially an import ban into the US on everything Apple, that would mean no more Apple products for the time being. Just going to try to read the list off to you. It's the iPod Touch, the iPhone 3GS, the 4, the 4S, the iPad 2, the new iPad, the new Mac Pro, the iMac, the Mac Mini, the MacBook Pro, and the MacBook Air. And essentially any other device they make that uses wireless communication to manage various messages and content. Very vague, I know, but that's exactly the kind of stuff that Apple has been pulling in all of their patent trolling. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% in favor of this because it is, like I said, just the same kind of thing that Apple's pulling. But in essence, it's kind of saying, you know, you do this to the Android community as a whole, it's going to happen back to you. And Google has gotten some good practice in court over the last couple of years. With this big lawsuit they had with Oracle, they gained a lot of traction in terms of legal clout. So, you know, I'm talking out of my rear there. I don't exactly know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it will be interesting to see where this case goes over the next few months, maybe a few years if Apple chooses to drag it out. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And the last things to mention, a few bits of XDA TV news. If you haven't seen it, the first video from our newest XDA TV producer went up this week. His name is Lance, and he is a Windows Phone guy. His first video is talking all about building Windows Phone apps, and he's going to be doing a series on it. So if you like that video, do make sure to like the video and leave comments and everything. Give him constructive criticism if you want. That's the great thing about this is we do do have this method of communication down below. You can talk to us and let us know what you think. Additionally, Erica put out a video this week talking all about Gorilla Glass, although I think specifically she talked about the Spigen Glass and not exactly Corning's Gorilla Glass. But one way or another, it was a good long video talking all about what Gorilla Glass is, what hardened and tempered glasses are, and why they're useful, why they're not break-proof, why they're just break-resistant and damage-resistant, and you really should go watch the video. It is very entertaining. And then finally, TK put out a video this week talking about enhancing your browsing experience with the ICS Plus browser. He actually did some comparisons with the stock browser as well, so you get to see a good back and forth. So definitely go ahead and show some love to the other XDA TV producers. But that's going to be all from me for today. If you like this content, do make sure to hit the like button down below and hit subscribe up above to be notified when we put out new content. As always, thank you so much for watching though, and I will see you next time.